Okay, let's go. All right. Okay, so tonight the goal is to look into how we can implement this flow. So this is the registration for Reboot, registration for the users. We have the flow here, so how it's going to look like. You can take a look at how it's done. So you go on the reboot.fun website, you log in, you pay 1 ICP, and you deploy your player, and then everything after that point goes directly to your player. So this is a canister, it's like a website, you go there, and then you set up your personal environment, you boot your session, and you can start playing the game. Okay, so this can be removed, I think, yeah. Let's see. Hi everyone, I'm not sure if anyone is here, but I'm trying to explain this flow. Yeah, okay. So how it's going to look like in the architecture, I'm still figuring out all the components, but it should look something like this. We have the different moving parts, which is, we have the website, we have the ICP ledger, we have the management canister, we have the God canister, so this is the kernel canister for the reboot. We have the player, and the flow should look like this. So basically the user comes on the website, the user goes on the website and he see an account, and actually I can quickly show how it looks like already. Well, it's not this code base, probably another one. Yeah, it's this one. Oh, no, that's not gonna work here. Yeah, I'll show that later. So basically you go to the website, then you send some ICP, the ICP payment is confirmed by the ledger, so we have to check with the ledger if the ICPs were received. We have to check if the balance is there, and then we can deploy the canister, and we use the management canister for that. The trick part is that when we deploy the canister, we also have to do a little bit more things that are related to reboot. So we have to mint some boot token, we have to create some energy for the player, and we have to deploy the player. Well, that's already included here, but those things, not sure if I'll be able to do that tonight because there is a lot involved. And then hopefully we can get the player to go directly on his website and start playing the game. Hi guys, let me know if you have any question. I'm going to start moving to the code now, and yeah, if you want to know anything, just let me know. Okay, so on the left side, I'm gonna put the main for the God canister. On the left side, and on the right side, I would like to Yeah, the thing is that I have an old repo, so I'm taking inspiration from myself, because I have already done quite some work here. I'll just copy this file. Yeah, it's this one. Let's call it old main. Okay. So let's start a new section in my code. I like to separate my code into blocks with like the relevant module name, like what it corresponds to. So here, probably we can call that pre-registration because it's actually before the registration of the player, because once the player is registered, everything takes place from his canister, not from this canister. So we can put it here. And we need a few functionalities. So this one, I think it's pretty safe to copy it. Basically what it's doing, let me just double check. So it just gives us our ICP balance. So the ICP balance of this is like the treasury of the whole thing, of the community. And we just need to get the ICP ledger, we check the balance, and that's pretty much everything that we need. And we just return an error if that doesn't work. To use that, we need to install one thing, which is the ICRC1. I think it's ICRC1 types. It's pretty cool whenever you want to use the ICRC1 standard. So you just go this. It's not a full implementation, it's just the interface. So you can just use it like, just contains the interface for an ICRC1 ledger. And so you can just use it like this, and then you just import the type, and you don't have to redefine all the type locally. So that can save some code lines. Oops, that's not, yeah, that's not the good one. Okay, so this one, I don't need to modify anything. It's already pretty much what I need. The second function that I will plan to do is the caller account identifier. So every user, when they go on the website, they will log in with internet identity, and they have a different sub-account assigned to them. So that's where they will actually send the ICP in the first place. And this method is just used to compute the account identifier. So this is like the old standard for transaction with ICP ledger, because back then there was not the ICRC1, so we had to use this standard. And I still use that in my code because it's pretty simple for user. You just show an address, they just send it to the address, and then you can verify that the user has paid. Each address is unique to the user. For that, we need those, we need some kind of utilities. So that actually I already have here. We need this eggs package, we need this account package, and I'm going to put them here. So x for hexadecimal and account. And once again, no shame, I'll just reuse. It's not the first time that I'm doing it, so it's pretty much always the same. Yeah, this one. So this hexadecimal is a module that we can use to decode some hexadecimal text to put it to binary and the other way around. And the account.motoko is a module that we can use to get like different functions on the account type, so on the sub account type. So you have the account, this is like the ICRC1's way of doing it. You have the sub account and the account identifier, which is some standard that is only used by ICP Ledger, but because we use it here, we need it. Okay, and yeah, this package to work, we actually need to install some Motoko, some mobs package as well. So it's the latest one. Those are, I think it's, yeah, the hash. Yeah, so I know the name because it's here. I need to import this one and the hash and the SHA-2. Okay, and we are good. So there's some work to do on the, yeah, there's some work to do on the package, like making those things more accessible. And even this module, I wanted actually to rework on it because it's not, it's missing some function for me. Like it was missing something last time. I think it was missing one. Maybe I just already added it. Yeah, I think this one I already modified some things from the... There is like a module that I took from a package, but I actually modified it. Okay. Okay, so get ICP balance, get account identifier. We can already test it. Oops. Yeah, I did not finalize the work that I was doing on this module. Oh, okay. Yeah, I forgot quite some import here. So import debug and error as well, and this X. Okay, so we can test it now. I mean, it's not a proper test, but we can see that it's doing something, so it's a good sign. And this is normal because we don't have any ICP ledger locally. So because I just deployed locally, there is no ICP ledger. So it's perfectly normal that we have this error. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything we need on the test side. This function will test it once we have the front end as well, to see that what we display on the user side is actually corresponding to what we have on the backend. And I don't think we need this one for the moment, so I'll just keep it. What we did is the deployment. Okay, so we want to deploy a user, so I'll call this method deploy player. And for now, we won't take any arguments. We'll just make it. Yeah, we will want to return, in case the deployment is successful, we want to return the principal ID, so the canister ID of the player. And we want to avoid sending nothing, so we will send an error message as a text if the deployment fails. Oh, yeah, it's a function, of course. And it's asynchronous. So we have quite some things to do here in this function. Actually, we need to first check that the registrations are open. So check system limits, not above a max player. Check we want to also check that the color, check color payments, deploy player, create the energy for that player, mint some tokens. There is a lot to do, and I think that we will probably have to separate that in multiple functions, but for now, let's try to at least get to that point where we can deploy the player. But we need to create energy first, so let's just do it here. Okay. I have a module that it's the identity module, so this module is here. And I have a method number of players. Well, I made it private, but actually I can make it public here. Well, this one as well. Yeah, this is in my identity module, which actually, just looking at the name, makes me realize that we need to change this at some point. I put everything in the identity module, but I'm already starting to realize that this needs to be in another place. But for now, it's fine. Let's just move small functionalities by small functionalities. Okay, so this, we can make it public. And we don't need... yeah, let's just put maximum players. We don't need the registered. Now I need to change that, of course. So how many times? 4 times? Okay. Okay. Yeah, actually we could do something a little bit cleaner. Player count. And return the same error message as here. So this one. Registration limit reached. 200 player. Registered. Registration is closed temporarily. What's... ah, yeah, it's maximum player. Okay, we need to import the NAT module as well. Okay, I'm just gonna put that for now, just to... ah, yeah, I just wanted to remove the error displayed. Okay, so check the system limits. We are good. And we can check also if the player has already deployed the player, because for now I would want any... yeah, I would want any identity to only be able to deploy one player. Yeah, because otherwise it's going to mess a little bit with everything we've already created. So for that we need to take a look at the identity module. So well, actually I don't really track the... I don't really track the person that deployed initially the player, so I can't really know. Is it really a problem? I mean, if people want to deploy more players, in the end they can only I mean, they can only... yeah, they can deploy more players, but they can't really cheat the game like this. If they want to play multiple players, it's up to them. Yeah, but I have a problem because I still need the... yeah, at least I need to store who deployed it in the player card. Actually, I really think this is a bad name for this. Okay. Well, that makes me think that I need to rework this identity module before moving here. Which is a bit annoying because I don't want to do that now. Let's see. So actually, I can just quickly save the situation, save the... Yeah, I can do that. Gonzo, I'm creating something called Reboot. It's a game that I'm building on the IC, on the internet computer. And it's a game that it's called Play to Build. And I mean, the whole point of the game is that I can use it to continue my work, basically. Yeah, if you want to know a little bit more, I have written a few articles about it. I can share that. Well, this one, for example, it's the article number 6 of the series, but you have 6 previous articles that explain the concept of Reboot. And I'm coding live right now, but it's mainly to share a little bit more about the behind the scenes. And if you have any question on the code, I can help. The code is also public. Okay, so yeah, what I want to do is do user to player. This will just be a map, and we can actually have multiple player. For now, we will limit to 1 player per user, but later we might allow more players. And so I'm just gonna store this in a map. So this is the internet identity that is responsible for deploying the canister, and this is the actual canister ID. Yeah, if you're new to Motoko, this might be a little bit hard to get because it's pretty advanced level of Motoko. But if you want to learn more about Motoko, I have a course 100% free at the moment. Oops. And yeah, oops. I don't know if that... Yeah, I send the link. You have a full course where you learn Motoko through doing some like coding exercise. You have a few lessons and everything you need to get started. Okay. So now that I store this inside the map, I can actually use it here. I can define a public function, which would be get player from, well, it's, how could I name that? I don't want to, yeah, you're welcome. Actually, the bootcamps are starting next year again. We are going to build this project Reboot together. We are also having a token, so it's gonna be tokenized, and there is a lot of opportunities coming up for the next year. I just need to finalize this coding session and like everything else, but it's looking good. I'm tired tonight. I'm like super slow, but get players by user, or like get players. Yeah, I'm the type of developer that can spend like 2 minutes just to think about the good function name. I like when they are really simple to understand. I mean, get players is okay. So get players for the user, and then it returns the list of all the players for that user. So we can do an option.get map.get and like this. User to players. And it should be user to players, not user to player. User to players, user to players. Okay, so now we can actually check that if identity gets players for the color as a length that is above 0, this means that the player has already registered in the past, and it's dot size, not dot length, dot size. Yeah. Registration failed. You already have a player. Well, you already have an account. That's okay, yeah. You already have an account. Okay, now we want to check the payment. For the payment, we might want to do, this. So I'm just defining the one ICP. Yeah, this comment is pretty useless, but let's keep it here. So one ICP is 100 million E8s, which is the unit that the ledger actually uses. And so here we are checking that the balance on the ICP ledger is for this account, which corresponds to the user, if it's at least one ICP. If it's at least one ICP, well, we can say that yes, the player has actually paid. So otherwise, we just say that, well, deployment. Actually, it's not registration. I'm gonna try to keep the vocabulary very precise, especially because it's really easy to get lost. I'm gonna keep it clear. It's deployment failed, because it's a deployment. Deployment failed, deployment failed, deployment failed. Deployment costs one ICP. Okay. Okay, this is not so good practice, but super convenient. Yeah, what I'm doing here is I'm just transferring back the funds from the sub account into the main account. Because I want to basically have all the funds from the deployments inside one account that I can easily access and check. If it's split across like thousands of accounts, it's annoying when you want to do a transfer. And here I'm saying it's not a really good practice because I actually ignore this call. I just do it but I don't look at the results, so I have no error handling here, but I don't really care because it works 99% of the case. And if it doesn't work, then I think that it's not, I mean, if it doesn't work, then we just lose some ICP, but it's not worth, I mean, it never happens, so basically it's okay. No, it's just that I have other priority right now, but of course this will be improved later. Okay. So after that, we need to get the player module. We need to basically create a canister, get the latest player module, deploy the module, and install. Yeah, we have a lot to do in this function, so there is a lot that we need to rework later on. I'm gonna do it as one block now, but I will rework and rewrite all of that later. Okay, so the first thing is we need to get the IC inside the utilities here. So ic.motoko. Once again, let's open up. Where is my, I think it's closed, okay. So this is a piece of code that enables interacting with the internet computer itself through the management canister. And we need it because we are going to create a canister, so yeah, so once again, there is no shame in copying yourself. The reason is that I know exactly what's happening here. I already done it quite a few times. So basically we're just creating a canister and we need to add some cycles. So here I'm adding 1,500,000,000,000 cycles. And I need to add this to my energy system of reboot, but for now I'll skip it. But I really have to do it because that's actually core to reboot. One of the key aspects is that the energy that is inside the network can only enter through this canister. So here we need to actually count that somewhere. But this would be a module that we need to work on probably separately. So once we redo this function, like once we do it more with a better syntax, not everything in one file, we will also work on that. Okay, so a lot of try catch here to make sure that we can handle errors. And then we install the module. But for that, we need to get the module. So the module is actually the WebAssembly module. And yeah, we need the module store for that. The module store is something that I haven't moved to the new repository. So the module store is where you store WebAssembly modules for later installation. And I already have one. Well, yeah, it's okay. We can actually copy how this store looks like. The reason that I was a bit hesitating is that I wanted to redo this as well, cleaner code. But for now, let's keep it simple. It works. So now we need to go back to this one. It's actually a very simple module. I think it's 2 levels up, 3 levels. Yep. I feel there is something to do with like kind of a generic store, because this pattern will actually repeat itself quite a lot. And we also want a reference to self, like in every single module. Let's do that like here. We need to pass it here. This is just a reference to the canister ID, because we need it every time in a module. Very often we need the canister ID that is actually using the module, and we can't actually access it if we don't pass it. So that's why I always do that when I initialize a module. Okay, so we have the store. Now we can use it in the main file. So import store, and I think it's actually very, like, one of the central thing about this canister is going to be this store. So perfect, almost perfect. Yeah, I went too fast. I only did the v1, but I didn't do the lib for the module. Yep, okay. The code here is simply enabling us to load WebAssembly files and like upload them and store them inside of this store. So that's, yeah, there is nothing really crazy happening. I gave it the name of store because it is what it is. It's a store. But yeah, it might get a little bit confusing, so we can always change the name later. And this class, I really don't want to call it, I'll call it like this. Okay, so this is an init. So this is our storage for the modules. Now we have it initialized. And now we can actually do store get latest module for the player. So it will actually load the code for the player, the WebAssembly module for the player. And if it found it, just return it. If it doesn't, we just return an error. So deployment failed. No module has been found. Okay, we can finally create the canister. Oops, I don't want to do that. So here we have all the code for creating the canister. No, we have already created the canister. What we want is, well, actually it would be smarter to do it how I did it before, which is to check the module before, because if we don't have the module, we're stuck. Create a canister, install the player module. I think we don't need argument here for the new version of the player, at least. Ah, no, we have actually quite a few arguments, but those should not be here. The only arguments we need are the two that are here, and the rest we should be able to do them on the registration. Yeah. Well, so now it's breaking my code here. So those are the initialization arguments for this canister, and we need the canister ID for God and the canister ID for the user. So this one is the principal ID of this canister, and this one is the caller. User here. Okay. And then we start the canister. Yeah, and we have one final move to do, which is to change the controller of the player, which means changing the controller to the canister itself. So the canister is controlling itself. And then we can just return the player ID. And we're pretty much done with this. So I'll just pass this to Claude. Yeah, I just want him to improve a little bit the syntax. Well, actually, it's not really great. I think it's not exactly what I was expecting. So, well, it's already doing the job. Hey. Yeah, just coding and kind of tired now. It's pretty late. Yeah, I'm not even looking at the right code. It's this one. I'm from France. And you? From India. Yeah, I hope to be. I was almost ready to do something in India last year. We were on discussions to do a bootcamp there, but it didn't concretize. There's so many developers from India. You guys are everywhere. Okay. Where is it not? Where? I think I'm pretty much good here. So we have the deploy player. We have the start, the stop. I think I'm gonna call it a night. Yeah, for today, because call it a day, not a night. Call it a day, and just stop here because there is already a lot of things that I need to correct. It's super hard to code and stream. Like, just my brain is not used to do both at the same time. Which CLG are you from? What is CLG? What is CLG? What is CLG? Ah, college. I don't think you know. It's not very well known, but I can show you. Like, I did. Well, I'm talking about after high school. I did this school. It's like in Saint-Étienne, which is it's not the best city in France, but it's I was there to study and focus, so it was very intense, like 3 years of well, we did mathematics a lot and physics. It's a system in France where you go to school after high school, and those schools, they basically prepare you for a contest that you do after 2 years or 3 years, and you pass the contest, and then you get into another school. So it's like everyone is just focused on like passing contests, and they they don't even know why. Like, people just don't have really time to think too much about anything else than getting the first rank. And after that, so it's here. After that, I went to Toulouse and I did this school. This school, which is School for National Aviation. I was air traffic controller actually. I was not really doing web development at all. And then I dropped everything for ICP. And it's been 3 years already. So it's been fun. Just been doing Motoko for the past 3 years. I have some plans of masters in France or Germany. Yeah, if you go in France, tell me. Let me know. I'm usually not in France actually. I am living in Portugal at the moment, but I just came back to France like for a few weeks at the moment, but otherwise I live in Portugal. Okay, so this, I'll just save that and close it. Okay, so I haven't commit anything for tonight. How can you contact me? Well, the best way would be on Telegram. I guess maybe if you have open chat on ICP, you can contact me, but I think Telegram is the easiest. Let me just drop my handle. If anyone wants to follow the code, I will commit it somewhere sometimes. When it's a little bit cleaner, I will commit it to the official repo. But there is a lot of work to redo everything, because tonight I feel I was not super productive. Okay? Thanks everyone for following that, and see you next one. Oh yeah, I have Instagram as well. It's the same handle. But I don't use it too much. So I think it's the same handle. I think so. Yeah, I'm not logging, but I'm pretty sure it's the same. And on Discord as well. I'm using the same everywhere to make it easier. So yeah, Discord I'm super active actually. We have the Motoko Bootcamp Discord, so that's where I am mostly active. Alright. See you everyone. See you. Samban. Yeah, reach out on Telegram. Nice to meet you too. Have a good one. Bye bye.